If I asked you to describe the relationship between God and Satan, how would you describe it? Most people, religious or not, would describe a war. A cosmic, eternal battle between good and evil. God is the king of heaven. Satan is the rebel prince of darkness. They are enemies, they are opposites. They are the ultimate rivals for the souls of humanity. We imagine Satan as the intruder, the snake in the garden, the dragon trying to storm the gates. But if you pick up the book of Job, one of the oldest and most profound books in the Bible, and you read the first 2 chapters, you find a scene that completely shatters this image. The scene opens in heaven. The sons of God, the angels, are gathering for a meeting with Yahweh. And strolling in right alongside them, apparently completely welcome, is Satan. He isn't there to fight. He isn't there to invade. He's there for a staff meeting. God asks him, casually, "Where have you been?" Satan replies, "Roaming through the earth, going back and forth in it." They chat. They discuss a man named Job, and then they make a wager. This doesn't look like a war. It looks like a performance review. It looks like 2 colleagues discussing a case file. This presents a massive theological shock to the modern reader. In the book of Job, Satan is not God's enemy, he's God's employee. He's a functionary in the divine administration with a specific, dirty job to do. Today, we are going to peel back centuries of tradition to look at the original Satan. We are going to explore his role as the divine district attorney and ask, how did a loyal servant of heaven become the master of hell? To understand who this character is, we first have to look at his name tag. In English translations, the text says, "One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them." It looks like a proper name. "Hello, my name is Satan." But in the original Hebrew, there is a crucial detail that changes everything. The text does not say Satan. It says Ha-Satan. In Hebrew, Ha is the definite article. It means the so. The text actually reads, "And the Satan also came with them." This is a massive distinction. In Hebrew grammar, you generally don't put the in front of a proper name. You wouldn't say the David or the Moses. You only use the when you are describing a title or a function, the baker, the smith, the prosecutor. So, Satan isn't his name. It's his job description. The Hebrew root Satan simply means to oppose, to accuse, or to act as an adversary. In Numbers 22, the angel of the Lord stands in the road as a Satan adversary to Balaam's donkey. In 1 Samuel 29, the Philistines fear David will become a Satan adversary to them in battle. So, when the character walks into heaven in Job 1, he's not Lucifer. He's the adversary. He's the accuser. Think of him as the divine district attorney or the cosmic internal affairs officer. His role in the heavenly court is to patrol the earth, looking for disloyalty, hypocrisy, and corruption, and then report it back to the king. He isn't evil. He's cynical. He's the Inspector General of humanity. To understand his job, we have to understand his workplace. The setting of Job 1 is the divine council. This was a common concept in the ancient Near East, whether in Babylon, Canaan, or Israel. People believed the high God didn't rule alone. He held court with a retinue of lesser divine beings, being Elohim, sons of God, who acted as messengers, warriors, and advisors. In the book of Job, Ha-Satan is a member of this council. He has clearance. He has the right to speak when God asks, "Where have you been?" And the Satan replies, "Roaming the earth." This isn't an admission of loitering. It's a report. In the ancient Persian Empire, the king had a network of spies called the King's Eyes and Ears. They roamed the empire to test the loyalty of the governors. That is exactly what Ha-Satan is doing. He's walking back and forth patrolling to check on God's subjects. This reframes the entire conflict. The Satan isn't attacking God. He's attacking God's appraisal of Job. God says, "Have you considered my servant Job? He's perfect, the Satan says. Objection. He's only good because you pay him to be. This is the key. The Satan challenges God, but he does it within the bounds of his office. He's playing devil's advocate literally. He's testing the integrity of the system. The most shocking proof that the Satan is not an independent rebel is what happens next. He wants to test Job, but he cannot lift a finger without a permission slip. Satan says to God, "But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will curse you to your face." Job 1:11. Notice, he asks God to do it, or at least to authorize it. God replies, "Very well, everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself do not lay a finger." The Satan goes out and destroys Job's life, but he follows the rules perfectly. He kills the sheep, the servants, and the children, but he doesn't touch Job. Later, in chapter 2, he comes back for a second meeting. He argues, skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. God replies, "Very well, he's in your hands, but you must spare his life." This is not a war between equal powers. This is a king giving strict orders to a subordinate. The Satan is on a leash. He is an agent of God's providence, a dark, painful agent, but an agent nonetheless. In the theology of Job, there is no dualism. There is no bad God fighting the good God. There is only one God who is responsible for everything. As Job himself says, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Job 2:10. The Satan is just the instrument. Why is the Satan so mean? Why is he so obsessed with proving Job is a fake? In later Christian tradition, we assume Satan hates us because he is evil. But in the book of Job, his motive seems different. He seems to be motivated by a desire to protect God's integrity. The Satan's argument is actually quite profound. He asks, does Job fear God for nothing? He's pointing out a flaw in the system. If God always rewards righteous people with money and health, then how can God ever know if people truly love him, or if they just love the stuff he gives them? The Satan is accusing Job of being a mercenary. He's saying, Job isn't a saint, he's a businessman. He puts in piety coins, and he gets out blessing coins. Take away the vending machine, and watch him turn on you. In a twisted way, the Satan is the defender of pure religion. He wants to see if there is such thing as disinterested piety, faith that exists for its own sake, without reward. He is the cynic in chief. He doesn't believe human beings are capable of selfless love, and he is demanding that God prove him wrong. So, if the Old Testament Satan is a civil servant, how did he become the enemy? The shift happens gradually, over centuries, driven by the problem we discussed in previous videos, theodicy, the problem of evil. As Jewish history got darker, the destruction of the temple, the exile, the persecution by Greeks, it became harder and harder to believe that all the bad stuff was coming from God's own administration. It was too painful to think that God authorized every disaster just to test people. They needed to distance God from evil. We can see this shift happen in real time in the Bible. There is a story about King David taking a census. In the earlier book, to Samuel 24:1, it says, "The anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them." In the later retelling of the same story, 1 Chronicles 21:1, it says, "Satan rose up against Israel and incited David." In the later text, the word Satan appears without the article the. It has become a proper name, and he is now acting against Israel on his own initiative. By the time we get to the New Testament, the district attorney has been fired. He has been cast out of the heavenly court. He is no longer the loyal opposition. He is the leader of the resistance, the accuser. Becomes the father of lies. So, the Satan of Job is not the devil of pop culture. He is a member of the divine cabinet, patrolling the earth to quality check human faith. This brings us to a fascinating and perhaps disturbing debate. On one side, is the New Testament view Satan as the rebel enemy more comforting? It creates a clear good versus evil war. It means God is not responsible for our suffering. The enemy is. It gets God off the hook. On the other side, or is the Job and view Satan as God's employee actually more profound? It presents a universe where suffering isn't a random accident caused by a bad guy, but a mysterious, painful, and perhaps necessary part of the divine economy. It suggests that our trials are not proof that God has abandoned us, but proof that God is watching us, that we are being tested in the cosmic courtroom to see if our love is real. Which universe is scarier? The one where a monster is trying to destroy you, or the one where God authorizes the Satan to break you, just to see if you will still stand? Let me know your thoughts on this theological mystery in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into the origins of the adversary fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that uncovers the real stories behind our beliefs. Thanks for watching.